Um, Honestly, like I don't even want this to be clickbait or anything like that. I don't like the movie, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad movie or it doesn't mean that it's not a good movie. I just think the revelation that I had after seeing this movie made me very disappointed. What's poppin' YouTube? It's Q back at it again. Another Q reviews. No Donald Trump impersonation today. Today we're gonna review Thor: Love and Thunder, or Thor 4. And yes, this is a semi-spoiler review. So if you haven't seen Thor and Love and Thunder and you don't want to be spoiled, I would advise you turn this off, go see it, then bring your ass back here and watch the video. I'm just playing, but I would appreciate it if you come back. Thor 4. It's the fourth Thor movie in the MCU. This one is about Thor attempting to retire, but he can't retire because Gore, the God Butcher, a very famous villain in the MCU or in Marvel Comics, he's trying to kill every god. So Thor can't retire. He has to go kill the God Butcher. It's a big battle. So as usual, I'll talk about things that I liked and the things I didn't like, and then I'll give an overall score at the end. But again, this does include spoilers, so I had to because of context and because I've seen every other YouTuber do spoiler reviews. So into what I liked about the movie. First things first, the opening scene. The opening scene of this movie explains so much about Gore and his motives to become the God Butcher. Not even gonna front. It's the best introduction to a villain in the MCU that was a standalone movie. 10,000%. And that leads into my next point. Another thing that I really enjoyed, Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher. Christian Bale is one of my favorites. He's one of my favorite actors, and of course I enjoyed him as Bruce Wayne, Batman in The Dark Knight trilogy. But I also enjoyed him in Vice, Ford vs. Ferrari, The Fighter, The Prestige, and other films. He's known to indulge in method acting, and sometimes it becomes too much, but it's definitely one of the scenarios now where it worked. It really worked, and it worked for this movie. As a villain, he is probably the most serious aspect of this movie, and so it just helped that he's so talented. He dove really deep into this character's art. I just appreciated it. The last thing that I really liked about this movie, I really enjoyed the continuity from Ragnarok, and I know it's gonna kind of contradict the things that I hate, but I will say I appreciate this. Taika Waititi, he changed the pacing of Thor and the development of Thor as soon as he took over and as soon as he did Ragnarok. The enjoyable thing here, the feel of it continues. It's not like two totally different movies. Basically, if you like Thor Ragnarok a lot, you're probably gonna like Love and Thunder, maybe, which is, let's just get into what I didn't like. So the things that I didn't like about this movie, like the major thing that I had an issue with. I had a huge issue with Thor's character development, like to this point. A lot of people disliked the first Thor movie. I liked it. Majority of the people did not like Thor 2. I was one of those people. So when Ragnarok came, it was a little funnier. It showed Thor finally using his like true powers. And we were preparing for Infinity War, so it worked. Kinda. But now, Thor is completely different than what he was when we saw him in the first time, maybe 10 years ago. It's also different than anything that I've seen in the comics, anything that I've seen in animated series or previous adaptations of Thor. And it's just kind of hard to digest that. The character development of Thor is completely fucked in my opinion, and it shows more than ever in this movie just based off of the fact that Thor is just a children's comedian now with superpowers. He's no more than Shazam or Drax. Like he didn't feel godly. Another thing that I really didn't like, I didn't like the attempt of comedy. I know that I said that it carries a lot of what Ragnarok brought, but at the same time, the shit just wasn't funny to me. Like, okay, I laughed for like the first 30 minutes. I thought the first 30 minutes pretty funny. But it was like once you see Thor's ass, you're kind of like I was done laughing. I was like, all right, like, what are we doing here? Because we know that a god butcher is in here trying to kill him. Why are we looking at his butt cheeks, man? What's going on? Another thing that I really didn't like was it was a lot of unnecessary scenes, lines, and moments in this movie. I've seen people compare this movie to a parody of what Thor is. Honestly, that's the best summary of what this movie is. To me, this movie was just a long-ass Saturday Night Live skit that really should have ended 40 minutes earlier than it did. So the last thing that I really didn't like about the movie, I don't really like the misrepresentation of post-Endgame timeline and the new Avengers. And you might be thinking like you, that had nothing to do with this movie, but it does, and I'll explain. So I had a long conversation with the homies after this movie. It was brought to my attention, and I'm aware now. The Avengers are no longer a team, a unit, or exist in the MCU like the Avengers is what we know it. But we're clearly watching these movies. We're watching these movies to see the next big villain. Marvel Studios created this structure of movies, and they put them into phases and sagas to help guide the viewer into what would be an epic. Now that we're in the thick of phase 4, this movie and the other movies that have come before it in phase 4, they truly feel like standalones. Nothing's connecting. It's frustrating because as the viewer, we're just forced to trust Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige and believe that they will explain all of these things at a later date. I'm just calling bullshit on that. That feeling factors into this movie because this is one of the original Avengers. I'm supposed to just act like he's not Avenger anymore. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. That was just the last thing that I hated. So overall, I give this movie a 3 out of 10. Honestly, I really do. I don't like the movie. Is it a good movie? Sure, it's watchable, but do I like it? No, I don't like this movie at all. I don't need a Thor retirement love story when I know in the next 5 years one of the biggest villains in the MCU outside of Thanos is coming on screen. It doesn't make any sense for this movie to be here. So, if you've seen Thor: Love and Thunder, comment down below. What did you think? What are your thoughts on the movie? Comment in the comment section. Talk to me. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, share, click that notification bell to stay up to date on all of the videos coming out. Follow the links in the description to all the socials. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to CltrStudios. Check out all of the content that's coming out from the studio. And that's today's video. So as always, be safe, take care, and until next time, thank you for watching. It's Q from Q Reviews. Peace.